One more step, and you're scrap metal.
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about the Siyang culture, Y-C001, their take on a very G1-esque Metroplex. I think they call it Vladivostok, but anyhow, it's time that we finally get a G1 Metroplex. The first G1 Metroplex since G1 that I know of, and I gotta say, it's pretty interesting. They've done a lot of stuff with this, so we're going to talk about it. But I did get this. It shows you. I'm going to have a link down below where you could get yours. It's now $160. It is $40 off. It is the cheapest price I've seen anywhere, and I checked a few places just out of curiosity. But I do have a reviewer code TH if you want to go there and pick one up. But let's get into talking about this guy. I'm telling you the good and the bad, and the pluses, minuses, and the fun, and the not so fun coming up. Here's the box, and it's a pretty decent looking box. There's a lot of color to it. It's kind of a dark background in it, and you can see the actual product on the front, so it's not like it's a made up kind of picture there. And you do have some foil reflective kind of writing on it. Then on the back, you get to see both modes. And for me, it's going to be kind of like a fun reference and transformation. Like, all right, we got it here. Yep, we got it here. That's how it's supposed to look. So that's the way I look at that. It kind of shows all the features and what lights up. So yeah, we're going to get into that here just a bit. Alright, so there's a lot of work to do with this guy. This here is showing you all of the panels. And basically, there's two different types of panels, like electrical circuit boards. And one is set up to use this remote. And then another set of them is set up to use magnet only. And I think 4 or 5 of them are magnet only. You don't get the option. But there's like dual setup, so you can use remotes if you want to. I'm going to do all magnetic and not use the remote at all with this because, and here's why, because you can't go back and forth a whole lot. You do only have so many of these light up panels. So you plug the light up panel into the circuit board that has the battery in it, and that is how you light it up. And then you have to open up panels on him back there. Yep, you got to open his panels up and stick them in there. There's also a wind blade to put together. I think I'll just do that off camera just to save time. I don't want this to be a super duper long video. And there's extra parts and pieces in here in case kind of you break these sidearm panels that lift up these kneecaps and stuff. So anyway, let me make some sense out of this and I'll be back. Alright, so since we're back in a limited low light environment, got all the lights in it. It did take about 45 minutes to do it, and I'm going to give some credit to Influence's interest that his video popped up a few weeks ago. I watched it to see what I'm getting myself into, and several people also told me it's a bit of a chore. It is time consuming. It's not hard, it's time consuming. And so with that, I already knew what to expect. And with that, I'm going magnets on all this. So we're going to light up all of this. Put that in there a little bit better. So all that's lit up, feet light up. And that's how it looks lit up in kind of a... Alright, so here it is, all lit up, and I think it looks pretty good. It is interesting that they did this. This is a lot of work, and basically, I think it's a cost-cutting measure to keep the price down on this, which $200 is not a horrible price for it if you consider all the electronics. Without the electronics, $160 is a good price. But that's what it is. It shows you right now, $160 with all this stuff in it. But I did not use the remote, and I will show one thing I think most people haven't really shown. You show the flat side inserts up on the battery. I haven't seen really anyone point that out just yet, but that just made it a little bit easier if you know that. And let's look at the back. From the back, you have this, and this that turn on. And yeah, we're going to see this stuff again when it comes to the alt modes, but it's a cool effect if you want to take the time to do it. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I almost think the chest one's the hardest one to see. Well, from this angle it's easier to see. From the angle I'm looking at it, from behind the camera, around the camera, it's hard to see this part, but there's the lights. Now after spending 45 minutes with putting lights in, now you got to build wind blade, so I don't know how long this will take. I don't even have my sprue cutters. But yeah, you got to get all these off the sprues. and then put her together. And I'm pretty sure it all makes sense. I'm pretty sure it's all pretty easy and self-explanatory to a point. But yeah, I'm gonna get her off sprues. I guess I'll get her built. So here's her parts kind of laid out. You just kind of assemble her. I don't know. I'm gonna fumble around with this thing. Doesn't look too hard. It's just time-consuming, but probably be worth it in the end. Okay, so this is Windblade. Windblade is built and looks okay, consider she's not painted at all. You could paint her if you want and do whatever, but it has some articulation, like in the bicep swivel. The elbows are real weak and pop off real easy. Head's on a ball joint. The backpack could fall off. Mine falls off easy. I'm sure I could do something different. I'm not even sure I did it right, but this is how I did it, so. Anyhow, you got some articulation in the legs and the knee, the foot, but I'm going to do very little articulation with her. I like that she comes with a stand, but let's get her into comparison. All right, let's compare it to New Age's RC. New Age's RC is kind of getting washed out there with all the light, but cover the light, cover her up. Yeah, there she is. And this is Magic Squares Prime 1.0 with the metallic paint. That's where she scales. So she is a Legend size figure, and you get a free Legends figure thrown in. Well, nothing in this world's free, but she's there. All right, so let's take a look at this guy. He looks pretty good overall. And the one thing I thought was weird when I first pulled him out was seeing that he's got like white and gray color scheme, which doesn't exactly match the G1, but in person, it's not really that bad. Would I have wanted all bright white? Probably, but it does get boring just looking at straight head to toe white. So I can kind of see why they went the direction to give it a little bit different color here and there to make it a little more interesting. So I see why they did it. Plus, there's not really any paint apps on this thing. I think maybe on his head right there, the forehead, but a little bit down here on the lower legs. So there's not a ton of paint, but with that, just casting some parts in different colors, I guess it could make sense overall, but it still looks pretty interesting and still feels very much G1. But aside from that, it looks pretty good. We already kind of got a look at this thing. Let's just go ahead and get into articulation and comparisons. So getting into the head, ball jointed, it's side to side, up and down, and I started pushing it down for transformation and realized it's really hard to push down and really hard to pull back up. So I'm going to just leave it in this state, slightly push down and deal with it. And the head, this little piece is kind of loose on mine because of the battery in there and all that, the lighting and stuff. So I'm sure I can mess with that and get that a little bit better. Then we got the shoulders out to here and the 360, the nice ratchet, bicep swivel. Now this is a little weak ratchet in the bicep swivel, but it'll hold the pose. And then, is it a double joint? Yeah, it's a double joint, so there's that. And that'll work. But heavy guns, heavy guns. Let's go ahead and get the gun out of there and get into the hand. And that fell off. I didn't have that in very well. Actually, that holds on better if you remove the paper that's over that. Anyhow, getting into the hands, we have pretty much fully articulated hands here. So you have 1, 2, 3 points of articulation on each finger. They don't splay, and you got the thumb, and you got movement on the thumb. So pretty much everything you would expect with the hands. And then getting into the waist area, it's not wasting time. We've got a ratchet, no ab crunch. I don't really need it. You do get the leg really tight ratchet here, out to there. Of course, that far to the back, and then a limited thigh swivel, and then the knee goes to there, and then the foot is just, it just wiggles, waggles, gets the job done. Not bad. All right, so let's start out with comparing them to the Big Mammy Jammy. This over here is the one Hasbro gave us. Again, Hasbro has not given us an original G1 accurate looking one since G1. This one was stylized IDW or something along those lines. The 30th anniversary generations. It's still really cool, but as you can see, this does look a little more interesting with the gray on it. You may not like that, you may hate that, but it just breaks up all of the white. Here's next to the OG G1. Yes, it's way better, in my opinion. Size-wise, scale-wise, aesthetically. I think that if you had a G1 collection and you just put it in your G1 collection, it'd be okay. I still feel like it should be 24 inches at least for a G1 collection, but it scales better than the original G1, that's for sure. Here's a random Voyager scale Optimus Prime. So you just scale-wise, I didn't grab the Earthrise one or anything, but this is the most recent one that they've made, the Ollie's one. And since this is technically Legend scales, there's the Legend Optimus Prime for scale. Alright, I'm going to keep this transformation on video, I hope. I'm going to try, do my best. Let's go ahead and remove these here. And this here. And this, and this. And we are going to fold up the hands. We can see all that. Fold the hands up. Are we seeing all that? Then we're going to open this up, fold the hands in. Sort of like that. This is going to fold up and go out. Do that same thing on the second side. Alright, so this is taking way longer than I thought it would. Let's go ahead and flip his head around. Let's finish transforming him. This is camera died. Gotta get back to this now. Alright. Fold this forward like so. And let's get down here to the feet. Pull the feet down. Fold this over. And then bring this up like so, and then we're going to peg these in, fold that back and peg it in. Peg it in. Let me make sure I've got this set up. I want that on the outside so it's easier. So one of the sides is the side, what's on the inside anyway. Oh well. Can't win them all. Well, actually, no, you can't win them all. There's that. And then we're going to plug these guns, not missiles, into here. And to make sure all that matches up to the box. Make sure it's the way it's supposed to be. I think it is. I think we're done. And I guess it shows this up a little bit, and we'll take a look at it. We fold these flaps out and pull the wheels out, and then that way you can roll it. You do that on both sides. Keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. This here is probably the least desirable mode. I forgot to put these down. Come to looking at it now and putting some figures on it, I'm like, why is there that gap? So get rid of the gap, and then you can put, I'll just put the G1 scamper on there, because I already have the other scamper ready for the other mode. We can put some stuff going on here. We can put a prime on it. Kind of whatever you want to do with that. See if this one fits over here. And there it is. It does have wheels to roll. And I didn't fold those out, so I could fold those out. Another thing I forgot to do. But anyway, yeah, it does have wheels on it to roll and all of that good stuff. It looks okay. This is probably the least interesting mode out of the two modes. Everybody really wants to put it in the base, so we're going to get to that. But let me show you. I feel like it'd be a lot easier if we just went back to semi-bot mode here and try to get it into the base mode. And so with that, let's get that done. Flip this around. Turn that like so, and then this needs to open up. So whichever way this opens up decides how everything's going to go. Like this, and then like this. It's going to go sideways, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Opening this up. Sit up, dude. flipping this out, flipping this around, pulling this at the joint. So a little bit cumbersome, but it's starting to come along. All right, so getting it just a little bit more finesse here into what it's supposed to look like. Having the legs done, we can kind of come up here to this, and this is supposed to go up this direction. That one's in the back, and it's supposed to have, is it that one facing? We're gonna put scamper on the top. We got two little slots. They tab into these notches right here. And then we're gonna flip this thing around. Look at the back of it here. And on the back, we need to pull this piece here out. Slide this down. Flip this around. And we're getting really close. We're almost there. We got to do something with these guns, 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 guns. And then I think we are pretty much there. These guns still tab into here, if that's a thing that you want to do. And then I tab the other one in on this side. Get in the way of the light. Now these really aren't going to do much. There's not tabs. It would have been nice if there was more places to put them. Of course, this one's still going to work right here. But I think they assume that you're just going to have one free for the magnet if you're using the magnet. But pretty much this is it. And so I'm going to go through and see what all turns on. Turn it all on. Have a little bit of fun. Dim the lights. See how that goes. So here it is in its base mode. And I was going to put Cosmos on the landing pad. Realized I didn't fold over the landing pad. So this is still, you know, kind of fun. Messing around with this, but we're going to kill the big lights. Look at this with ambient light, and yeah, it looks good. This definitely fits the bill of a Metroplex base and Legends. Now, there's arguments that the one Hasbro made is probably better for Legends than this, and with that, I could see those arguments. But this is made for Legends, and everybody wants bigger is better. But there's no doubt that this thing is definitely going to be a presence on your shelf. If you want to spread the legs a bit and get a little bit more of an angle, you can. And I think that actually looks a little bit better. And then I'll have to kind of push it back so we can see that. But yeah, it's a good looking set overall. In this mode, it looks great. And then of course you want to incorporate maybe a couple of figures on it. This little platform here slides out, and although it doesn't touch the ground, you can have like a figure standing on it. I'm not really sure what they were thinking could happen with that. But it's kind of one of those weird features that maybe they didn't go all the way, or maybe they anticipated you doing something like this. I don't really know. And it looks like I see one light that I missed. Right there in the middle. Okay, we got it on. Good. So it's kind of fun. I do like the magnets to turn the lights on. Once you put the work into this thing to get the lights into it and then to transform it. Now, that's not something I want to flip back and forth a lot. The transformation is not hard. It's just not something I wanted to flip back and forth. I kind of think transforming it a whole lot of times, you're going to start seeing a bit of little floppiness in it. But for the most part, this is the best G1 Metroplex I've seen. And it looks pretty good. It fits the bill. It does everything you need. I mean, I'm not going to go into each little bay and all that. It really does feel G1. Feels like they took the G1 mold, they added some more articulation and made it taller and made it look better. And that's what I want. Seriously, that's what I want in Legends. That's what I want for GoBots. That's what I want for stuff like this. And I think it's a win. Hey, look over here at this light. So the lights are, they'll turn off on their own. If you turn them on magnetically, they turn off on their own. So if you just leave it for display and you walk away, this one should be coming off next. But that is quite interesting. I didn't know that. I just found that out while I was recording and talking, and I guess I talk a lot, so there it is. But the ones I turned on later are still on. The first ones I turned off sequence like the order I turned them on, so that's kind of interesting. Alright, so what do I think about this? It was way more work than I thought it would be. It really was. From installing the lights, from putting this figure together, which, I mean, that really wasn't a big deal. That was like 5 minutes. To the transformation isn't really bad, but it was more work than I thought. Is it worth it in the end for $160 this figure? I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad I've got it, and I will have a link down below where you can get one yourself. Now, I don't know how long they'll stay in stock for $160, but I am curious if they'll do repaints. I know they're coming out with a Triptychon, but I'm in on that Triptychon for sure if it was pre-orderable. But I gotta say that I'm happy with it. I think it's vastly superior to what we got in G1 back in the day. And will it work for G1? It'll work better for G1 than what the G1 one does. But I'm curious what you guys think. Have you gotten yours? Did you put yours together? Did you put the lights in it? Have you transformed it a few times? What mode do you like the most? And how are you going to display it? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Teddy Hanger out.
The Dinobots are primitive, but they are Autobots.
We can't rule anything out, Perceptor. We'll have to interrogate all the Dinobots.
The energon we found is a Decepticon formula. It's made out of oil from Africa, from Carbonium